All right, so good afternoon, everybody. Ed Kull here, Director of Athletics, Fordham University. Thank you so much for joining us. Real fun, special video interview here with two unique and special Fordham supporters, Vincent Viola and Michael Repole, two incredibly successful business people, business entrepreneurs, and good human beings. And we could spend days talking about their business success and their entrepreneur success. I want to talk a little bit about some of their relationship today, their commitment to Catholic education, as well as, of course, the hot topic this week as we prepare for Kentucky Derby weekend, their partnership on Dynamic One, and then Vinny has another horse known Agenda. So a real special Kentucky Derby weekend for these two gentlemen. Mike and Vinny, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Eddie. We
Pleasure.
appreciate it.
So Vinny is a parent of two Fordham students. Also, his daughter-in-law attended Fordham. Mike is also what I would call a Fordham uncle. His niece Alexandra graduated here. Both of them very much committed to Catholic education besides Fordham University. Why don't you gentlemen speak a little about your love and passion? Obviously, Vinny being from Brooklyn, Mike being from Queens. I know how much growing up in a Catholic household meant to both of you.
Thanks, Ed. Listen, being a son of a waiter and a son of a seamstress, Catholic education, even though my parents didn't make a lot of money, was the biggest expense my parents spent on me and my brother, whether it was St. Margaret's or whether it was Holy Cross High School or St. John's University. Catholic education and Catholic religion is probably why I'm here and Vinny and I are so close. It's all about family. It's all about giving. So, we support Catholic education like Fordham, and really just starting at a young age to high school through college. So very, very important for me. And, I have one niece, but it did cost me one college education already. So for Fordham, and I'm sure I'll have many more to go. And I have a 5-year-old daughter, Joya, and Eddie, she's ready to apply. So if you need her, let me know. Okay.
Yeah. Appreciate that, Mike. Vinny.
Well, anyway, I think a very, very, very long time ago, growing up in what we used to call Greenpoint, now it's referred to as Williamsburg in Brooklyn, we kind of on the border of the two neighborhoods. I went to a grammar school, St. Cecilia's, and a family there, great family, it was the Meir family. Maddie Meir and Gerard Meir were two of the brothers. I want to say Ellen was one of the sisters, but make a long story short, Gerard went to Fordham, Rose Hill. And I remember going to I don't know how, where, when, what conditions and circumstances, visiting or seeing Rose Hill campus. And it was like an oasis, and I just logged in the back of my mind. So I always kind of knew where I wanted to go to school. And that, of course, turned out to be the military academy. But I always said, for my children, I'd love them to get a great Jesuit education. And we're kind of local people, New York, Fordham, the Jesuit College, and it was just fantastic. Yeah, that's a little bit of connection there.
Vinny, it's funny, and I'm sorry for not mentioning that earlier. I know obviously you did attend West Point, and obviously you are a military veteran. I wonder if the military will let Michael Repole in. I don't know about that, Vinny. I don't think he would even.
Oh, Mike actually would be fantastic in the military because he's decisive, he's courageous, he has simple integrity, unqualified integrity. It's all three of the key ingredients you need. Now, as far as his physical conditioning, I think we got
to. But it would be good because I would be with you and you would protect me and get me into shape. So I would.
Yeah. No, but it's just a great place. Fordham's a great place. Really, really wonderful, virtuous environment. My daughter. You mentioned my daughter-in-law. She went to the law school at Fordham, and she really enjoyed that. Really got a lot out of it. It's good stuff.
Obviously we're so lucky to have the two of you in terms of your love and support of Fordham. And let's talk a little bit about the relationship, how the two of you have met, obviously around horse racing. On Saturday, the two of you will have Kentucky Derby horse, Dynamic One. Vinny, you'll have another one, Known Agenda, who's the winner of the Florida Derby. Talk about how you two connected, besides the business success, in terms of your interest levels and passions. And not often that a Queens guy and a Brooklyn guy would become friends too. So I'm curious to hear a little bit more about your relationship.
I want to go first for one reason. I grew up as close to Queens as you possibly could grow up to Queens and still be in Brooklyn, right? Right. Sort of along that creek that we so we know and love.
You married a Queens girl, Teresa. So you crossed the border.
Yeah, because it was 5 minutes from my yeah. So so in all seriousness, I think Mike and I just knew from the moment that we started talking to each other that we had lived parallel lives. Our experiences are very similar, notwithstanding the fact that my parents did not speak to us in Italian. They spoke Italian at home. They spoke to us in English. My dad was born in Italy, and my mom and dad families came from the same town. So you could just imagine how close they were. And that sort of common thread was always kind of curling its way through our relationship. And the fact that Mike and his parents started with very little is describes my family. And we were very blessed that we came upon these shores, really.
Yeah, and for me, obviously being the kid from Queens and Vinny being the kid from Brooklyn, I obviously I've heard about Vinny, and when Vinny was a part owner in the Nets, I inquired about some ownership, and I actually spoke to Vinny for the first time, and I remember, wow, I'm speaking to Vinny Viola, and we were talking about, well, we didn't know really each other, we knew a little bit about each other's background, and then I got into horse racing a little bit earlier. Vinny got into horse racing. His dad used to take him to the track, and I always loved hearing Vinny tell the story. And at the end of the day, Vinny and I started talking horses, and we had dinner one time in the city back in like 2010 or 11 or 12. I can't really remember. And honestly, it's been like 10 years, and we know each other for 60. And I think calling us friends doesn't do the relationship justice. I think we're a lot more than friends. A lot of people think I'm older because I look older, because Vinny looks great, but I look at Vinny as an older brother and a mentor and someone I can seek advice. And Vinny and I have some really, really special conversations because our ports and our backgrounds are so similar. And there's been times, one time I think we were on the phone till 4 or 5 in the morning. I think we started at midnight. I mean, that's the type of relationship that we have. And I'm blessed to have a friend like Vinny Viola, or a brother like Vinny Viola.
No, same here. I just would double up on that whole premise, or reality. Really, it's not a premise, it's a reality. And, Ed, Mike really well. So you get Mike. It's a larger than life force, right? So being partners with a person who's not going to allow us to lose, that's a pretty significant partnership.
Well said, Vinny, and that's a power and a conviction that Mike does have in a relationship. That's wonderful. It's great to hear and see both of you. And listen, as we move into the conversation here about Dynamic One, it's a place you both have been before. Obviously, Vino Rosso obviously won the Breeders' Cup Classic in 19. Vinny, you and another great guy, Anthony Bonomo, had Always Dreaming, obviously Longo in 17, which was a wonderful celebration. Mike, you've had some tremendous horses together. Talk to me, what's exciting about Dynamic One? Obviously, Todd Pletcher, who's also the third wheel really of this relationship from a horse racing perspective, the legendary and great trainer. He didn't run Dynamic One really until November. It took 4 starts to get him going. What do we think about Dynamic One and the chances for Saturday, and what you're feeling about this horse is?
Well, I want to say we have 2 horses in. Vinny owns Known Agenda 100%, but that's also my horse, because I'm rooting for that horse as much as I'm rooting for Dynamic One. And as long as I don't come in second, I want Vinny to win in the worst way. I'd rather just be in 3rd or 4th. I don't want to be the second runner-up. I just want to be one place behind. But I want known agenda as much as Vinny and Teresa do. And, you know, Vinny and Teresa always root for the horses that we own together, and also the horses on my own. And we do the same thing always. And it's special when known agenda won the Florida Derby. You know, I called Vinny immediately, and I was so excited and so happy for him, Teresa, and his whole family, and Todd. And it's special. I mean, we had that, you know, winning races. You know, Eddie, you've been to the track with us a bunch of times, and you were there for Vino Rosso, by the way. It's just something winning with Vinny and Teresa. It's just like, it's family. And, you know, it's always about friends and family. His kids are going this week, and my daughter and my family and his friends, and we're in 2 suites next to each other. And honestly, we've won the race before it started. Let's just
exactly.
You know, the next 4 days is the real winner's circle is really the two families being together in one. We're going to take pictures on Thursday and Friday and Saturday. Whether we take one at 7 o'clock at Saturday, I don't know, but the other pictures are going to be more important to us anyway in the big scheme of things. So we're blessed, and we know we're blessed. And Dynamic One is trading great. On agenda, Vinny will tell you, it's training great. And you know, to have 2 chances of 20, you know, that's the way I'm looking at it. I know Vinny's looking at that. Have 2 shots just to be in that position is it gives you, on even fields, it gives you a 10% chance. But Dynamic One is the 7th favorite, 8th favorite, and known agenda is the number 2 favorite. So I think Vinny's odds are 25 to 30% maybe. So amazing, you know.
I love that.
And it's funny because we have another family in partnership with us on Dynamic One, the Phipps family, which we got to know through horse racing, and so we have like this fantastic extended family that surrounds itself about and because of a horse. This sport, there's no sport like horse racing, because you can't actually describe the feeling of owning. It's an amazing feeling. I wish everybody could have it.
I love the way you two describe horse racing and what it means to your families, and how it's been an extension, and how it's you all have you are family, the two of you, and that comes across very easily in this interview. It's special to see, obviously, your relationship, special to see what you have built here, and I know it's exciting for the Derby, and even in terms of known agenda, I know Todd Pletcher has referenced known agenda, reminding him very much of Vino Rosso, ironically enough. So I think it's exciting to see these 2 horses go on Saturday. I really appreciate both of your time. I know you got a busy week here and a lot of family arrangements. I know all the Fordham community, all the Fordham alums are going to be pulling for the 2 of you, not just because they have a Fordham connection to a horse in the Derby, but your stories, your families, your lives, and what you 2 represent, not only just to our alumni, but to our students who inspire to be great, and following and have even percentage of the amazing careers the 2 of you had. Your role models and your inspiration to a lot of people. I know you know that, but I hope you really do. As I sit here and interact with 18 to 22-year-olds, and that's very much my job. You're an inspiration and a role model to both of them, and your story always continues to drive that home, and it's so important. So I appreciate that.
Appreciate it.
You're very kind, Ed. That's much too kind.
Appreciate the 2 of you. Best of luck.
Yeah.
God bless you.
Thanks, Ed.